Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala and e-content of National Mission on Education under ICT. I am Professor Seva Singh, former Head Department of Library and Information Science, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. I will discuss with you today about the module Users and Information Use in Academic Library. This module forms part of the paper on academic library system. Development of academic libraries seems to have come of age in the present times. The academic libraries have introduced tools of modern technology like computers for housekeeping operations. These housekeeping operations constitute a comprise of acquisition of documents, cataloging and indexing of documents, circulation, serial management, maintenance, and so on. These applications have resulted in enhancing the use of information by users. Academic libraries are categorized into three groups, namely school libraries, college libraries, and university libraries. These three types have different information needs from different user groups. Consequently, the information needs of school students are different from those of college and university users. User is an important component in an academic library setup. Right information to the right user at the right time in the right format is the basic philosophy of librarianship. All the library activities revolve around the user. A major goal of an academic library is to provide pinpointed, exhaustive, and expeditious information to the users. A user visits a library for various purposes to fulfill his information needs. These purposes of his visit vary from time to time and situation to situation. User comes to the library to browse through the latest arrivals, current journals, newspapers, magazines, and other documents to seek a pertinent document for consultation or study in the library itself, or borrow it for home reading purpose. User visits the library to obtain current references on a specific topic of his interest. He visits the library to obtain factual information on a topic, event, activity, or to obtain any other fact which satisfies his information need. He could also visit the library to obtain photocopy of a journal article or an article in a magazine or newspaper or few pages in a book and so on. Library user therefore has been central focus of any academic library setup. A user has been defined as a person who uses one or more library's services. A user is a person who needs information which can be provided by specific library services designed and developed from time to time. A user is one who is known to have the intention of using certain information services prepared by the library. He or she derives a measurable advantage from library and information services, and the benefit which he derives would satisfy his information needs. Since user is the focus in an academic library, we need to look at some of the characteristics of library users, and it is obvious on looking at user segments that age is one significant factor which would differentiate user of a particular age group from another age group. Age explains the reading ability or use of information. Personality is another characteristic. It determines reading ability or use of information. Motivation is yet another characteristic, and it determines information seeking and use of information. Users who are visiting the academic libraries, they can be categorized in such types as the fresher reader, ordinary reader in an academic library, specialist reader, and general reader. Users can also be categorized in another way, that is, they could be students, graduate students, postgraduate students, MPhil students, PhD students. Teachers is another type of users. Teachers could be for undergraduate classes, for postgraduate classes, or teachers could be new recruits or the experienced ones. A research scholar is another type of users who probably have already used the academic library and now are familiar with some of its services and functions. Administrative staff of academic libraries is another group of users who visits the library from time to time. Management committee members also visit the academic library for various purposes. In addition to management committee, in addition to these types of users, there could be other stakeholders who would have interest in college, university, or school library. For example, principals of schools and colleges, vice chancellors, directors, etc. in a university library are other types of users, or special category of users who develop interest in academic libraries from time to time. So, academic libraries must take into consideration their needs also. In the present times, there has been a fast increase in information production, particularly in science and technology, but in social senses as well. Information is regarded as a valuable national resource due to its nature and characteristics. It has its economic value as well. New tools and techniques have been developed for the storage, retrieval, and dissemination of information. Documentary information flows from authors, creators, senders to various users and receivers, information developer, information technologists, etc., who make use of many channels and media. Value of information can be ascertained only on the basis of use of information by needy users, and information which is not put to use by any user is like a dead stock. Basic philosophy of libraries and librarianship is to provide right information to right user at right time, at right place, in right format. Information needs of users depend largely on the topic of study and the purpose of seeking information. To promote use of information, it is imperative to ascertain information needs of different groups of users. It can also be assessed through various research projects, tasks of individual faculty members, the projects taken as a team, what ultimately leads to team research, and so on. Librarian in academic libraries must determine user behavior to information use. He must analyze and identify those aspects of users which have direct relation to the information flow from the authors to publishers to libraries and to the users. Degree or extent of information use is subject to intended use and other priorities of the users. Another dimension to information use is the purpose of use. It is very essential, therefore, that the librarian determines or establishes the purpose of use of information by various segments of users. The purpose could be research purpose, planning of a project, education, teaching, and so on. But purposes are likely to change from time to time and situation to situation. In every case, users want qualitative information. Qualitative information from the library system. So the onus comes on the librarian. In some cases, information use can occur without an expressed demand. There is a range of possibilities in responding to the queries of users. This range changes with the array of queries asked by the users to assess the information use behavior, perception and cognition of users are of particular relevance. Once the librarian is able to know about the information use behavior, then he can look at various types of information which could be provided in response to queries received. So information comes to the fore, which is the product of different human activities. Information is as important and valuable national resource. It is considered equivalent to other resources like energy, coal, and so on. Types of information used by different user segments include conceptual information, procedural information, policy information, empirical information, stimulatory information, directive information. All these types of information which are sought by the user, individual user or user groups are put to different use in accordance with the user purpose. The objective of information seeking behavior is to know about the current developments in the area of user interest. Users want to know who else is working in the same field or identical field. They also seek information for knowing introductory and background information in a new field. Users also show interest in information seeking for knowing the extent of earlier work done in a new field so that they could move further in that particular area of research. They also show interest in getting specific information and data in their field because specific information would lead them to specific decision making and specific results coming out of it. While making use of the information and seeking information from various sources and resources as available in the library, academic library, users confront with some of the problems coming in the information use. These problems include vast quantity of information pouring in the system every day, every week, every month, every year. This quantity of information is increasing. There is also increasing uncertainty of problems in expressing needs. It is seen that users are unable to properly express their needs before the librarian or reference librarian or any other professional, library professional. On the other hand, sophisticated and complex mechanism matching the information needs with information source have been developed. And because of their sophistication and complexities, users are unable to match their needs with the appropriate information source at a given point of time. Therefore, training users in new methods of searching information from the library system is very much essential. So, without training, users again feel handicapped in proper information use. There is a need to inculcate a methodology in the regular information seekers for productive approach for information gathering from the library system. Use of information also varies because of user behavior, which changes from time to time, which undergoes a change with the change in the problem, with the change in the topic, with the change in the subject of interest. It also varies with the user attitude, how he or she looks at the user at the reference and information sources. What is its attitude towards them? Another problem is that of user capability. User capabilities also varies from one user segment to another user segment. Even it varies at the individual level of the users. Communication attitude is another variation that comes in the way of user needs and information use. Sometimes the users are able to communicate adequately, sometimes they feel handicapped in communicating their problem properly to the librarian. And user habits, of course, also varies from time to time, from situation to situation, and this helps to user habits would change with the change in information seeking habits. Information need is a need of users regarding information which varies according to subject requirement. Broadly speaking, information need is of two types. One is current awareness type of information, whereby he would be asking for information on any subject of topical interest. Two, ad hoc information need, which arises with the change in purpose from time to time. Another way of categorizing information need of users is current approach towards information need. It would explain about the current information only to update his knowledge about a particular topic. Everyday approach towards information also leads the users to seek for some of the factual information. Exhaustive approach is followed to search information exhaustively on a given topic of research. Catching up or brushing up approach to seek information is required when the user needs to be updated in a particular area. However, there are certain factors which influence the information needs of users from time to time. The range of information sources available in the library is one such thing. The user is not very well aware about the range of information sources Librarian can, of course, bring this range from ordinary documents to reference documents to electronic documents and other databases to his notice. The use in which information is to be put is another factor that would influence the information needs. User need to explain the use. If he is able to explain the use, if he is clear about what use he will make of the information, then he will clearly be able to find out the requisite information from the library store. The background, motivation, professional orientation, etc., are other factors which influence the information needs. Background, socio-economic background, educational background of the users, motivation of the users, and professional orientation towards a particular subject affect and influence the information needs. The social, political, economic system surrounding the user. Every day, the user confronts with various social indicators, social factors that influence his thinking. He is influenced by political developments taking place from time to time. He is also influenced by the economic system, the variations in economic system, the recession, the rise in prices, etc., etc. All these problems, all these factors influence the information needs of users. The consequences of information use, if he is not sure about that, and if he is sure about the consequences, it will also affect and influence the information needs. Laws of library science place emphasis on user in a library system. All the laws of library science, they revolve around the user, whereby it is emphasized that user is the king and all the activities, etc., all the operations, all the processes, etc., they are designed for the user. Therefore, before planning and designing the academic library system, the college and university authorities should take user needs and requirements into consideration. It is desired that if library and information professionals provide informed assessment of user needs regarding documents and services, the library system can be best designed. It could further lead to improvements of information services for all user groups. But if the user needs are not taken into consideration, probably the planning and designing of academic library system will have some lacuna. However, there are some factors which help to improve information use. For instance, arrangement of document collection in the library, arrangement in a helpful manner, systematically would obviously facilitate the use of the documents. Use of space in the library, use of furniture and equipment items, etc. They should be user-centered as far as possible. This will facilitate improving the use of library resources and services. Accessibility to library system is another important factor which should be taken care of. Accessibility of exterior and interior of library system, accessibility to library building itself, accessibility to the interior, to the stack area, to the service area, accessibility to library professionals, and so on would help improve information use. Awareness about the system and its sources is another important factor which would improve information use. If users are fully aware about the system, its sources, its services, the facilities, the information products, etc., offered, then the information use will considerably increase. Easy transmission of information through interpersonal communication is another important factor which should be taken into consideration. Library professionals must be able to communicate one-to-one, one-to-many for transmitting information to users. Library and information system should be so designed as to save time of the users. So all these things, all these aspects which we have discussed, dear students, about the user, their information needs, the impediments, how to improve information use, obviously take us to a point where we can summarize the module which explains the concept and meaning of user. And we all know that user is the central component in an academic library. This module describes user as pivot around which all the library activities and services are planned. It states the various characteristics of library user. It describes different types of academic library users who have different information needs. The module enumerates the problems in information use. It mentions factors which influence information use and how we can improve the information use by taking into care these factors, and discusses the need for planning and designing user-friendly library system so that the resources which have been acquired, the services which have been designed and developed, the information products which have been designed and developed by library system could be put to maximum use by different user segments. Thank you very much.